Hello, everyone. This is December 2020. We almost did it, did this crazy year of 2020. So next week is the last show of the year, and we are going to have in our lineup the wonderful Lara Marjerrison. Hi, Lara. How are you today?
Hi, I'm well, thanks. How are you, Brune? Is it
I'm
a
good.
Brune or Brune?
Brune.
See? Ah, lovely, beautiful. I'm well, thanks, and I hope you are also.
I'm all right, and some days I'm not. And so, if any of you who are watching are not feeling great, just know that you are not alone and that you are in our hearts. So, yeah, I'm so excited to have you on the show. The theme is going to be DNA, which I realize now can be pretty loaded. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's nothing like family of origin stories to get a person worked up.
Yeah. But so you are in Toronto, and so am I. You are going to be telling a story that you already told before, but maybe it will be a little different. Would you like to tell us a bit about that? Yeah, without giving out too much about the story, but yeah, or maybe you can
Sure, I
start.
mean,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
sure, I think I can. I told the story the first time in the spring of 2019, and when I revisited it in order to prepare for, your wonderful storytelling event, I realized that I have evolved and therefore the story has evolved. And so there was an opportunity to tell it maybe from a different point of view. It may be that it's actually quite a bit more deeply entrenched in my DNA at this point. And my understanding of this theme and how it relates to my story, like in the context of the story, is a lot more clear to me than it actually was the first time I told the story. So I'm excited to be able to tell it from an evolved point of view.
Mm-hmm. That's so interesting to me how sometimes to get to the point where we are ready to write and tell a story, you need some time, and then you tell it and you're like, okay, this is in the past, but then a year or two later or 20 years later, who knows, you actually have a different perspective on it. So that's great. I'm excited. So can you tell us when you told your first personal story on stage?
Yeah, I believe that was also in the spring of 2016.
Okay, and what made you want to do that?
Well, I mean, I've been secretly a writer all of my life. I've got boxes and boxes of writing and stacks of, I mean, napkins from bars and coasters, and I've been doing this my whole life, but it's always been a bit sort of subjugated and shoved under the bed, because we live in a world that tends to discourage the idea of spending a lifetime writing words, trying to make a living as a person who is a storyteller. But it's my greatest passion, and it's my belief that words are the most powerful weapon on earth, and we can use them for harm and we can use them for good. But stories are ultimately, and stay with me on this, but I believe stories are really all that we have. So everything that we know, everything we've ever learned, everything that we walk around with in the world, every minute of every day is a story. Someone told it to us and we integrated it either as a truth or a belief or a religion or an ideology, ideas about other people. That's all that there is. And I feel as though we don't spend enough time stopping and challenging those stories or considering how true they really are. And with respect to the story that I'll be telling on the show, certainly I was sort of, shocked into understanding stories that I had spent my life believing, telling myself about myself, stories that I told myself about other people, stories that those people had about me, weren't necessarily true.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this power in understanding that at any given moment, the story can be changed, the story can be put down. And so I think that the more that we are willing to, you know, be sort of raw and naked, which is how I feel when I'm on a stage telling a very personal story, the more it allows for that opportunity for other people. And the more that we share and the more that we, you know, listen to one another, the better that we understand one another and the more compassionate a world that we can create.
Mm-hmm. That's such a great perspective. Thank you. And I love that a story can be restoried, and that it's sort of a living organism almost. And
100%.
you know that, yeah.
Look at all the beliefs that we have. People, I don't want to get too political, but you know, I mean, if you look about what's going on, look at what's going on in the world today, and the, you know, stories on opposite sides of a Black Lives Matter issue, for example. And if I sit back and I witness, and I think if you could just listen to understand, instead of clinging to the story that you have in your head that was given to you by another person, then you might be willing. You would be better able to change your mind, and then we all would be able to evolve as a result. But if we stay stuck in the version that was, you know, the first thing we were told about a particular group of people or a particular topic, and we're unwilling to let that story evolve as an organism, as you've just described it, then we're not growing, we're not moving as individuals, therefore we're not moving as a culture. So story has a ton of power in that way.
I don't know who said an enemy is someone whose story you haven't heard.
That's right. So you've decided in advance that you know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to say, so that's really what drives me. I mean, I obviously have personal reasons. I want to be heard. I have something to say. So there's the personal aspect of it. And for me, there's a piece of liberation in it. It's a very self-focused in that regard. There's just my own liberation in being able to find my own voice, put it into a space, and have it be heard. But then there's a more sort of altruistic intent, I guess, which is that I feel like if I have the courage to do this, then I can help elicit that courage, you know, from others, and say, if I can, then you can too, and we can all be liberated as a consequence.
Yeah, that's so great.
So that's the motive, I guess.
Yeah. I like the two sides of it. Like, you can't, if you only do it for other people, it's not going to be great. You have to be fully present in your ego, and it's both. It's both parts of both sides of the coin, or whatever.
I mean, I think it's kind of like a musician, and you know, people spend this like, oh, when are you going to get a real job? And it's like, I mean, all the people in my life are musicians and artists, so it's like to ask a musician to stop making music is like to ask them to stop breathing. I mean, they can't. It's literally it's an integral piece of that person. So for me, storytelling feels the same way. It's a thing that I have to do because it's me being myself in the world. And then, of course, what you hope is that by you being yourself, it creates the opportunity for other people to do that too. So that's the
So
the extra love.
Yeah. So you told a few stories on stage, and now you're going to be telling a story behind your screen for the first time. How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with it. I mean, if you had asked me that in March of this year, I might have been a little more reluctant, but I have been meeting with a writing group every Thursday. So I'm a member of the Firecracker department in Toronto, which was founded by Naomi Sneakus, and just this wonderful group of amazingly talented women in film and comedy and theater and all the, you know, the arts. And so we've been meeting every Thursday on Zoom, and so now I'm so used to it, and I think we've all sort of learned to adapt to this atmosphere. I can't wait till I can be in a room full of breathing humans again and feel that energetic exchange. But I think, you know, it's exciting. This is the best thing we've got in the interim, and it still allows us to connect. Every Thursday I think, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna go, and then every Thursday I can't miss it, and every Thursday it lifts me up and makes me you know, happy to have made the connection. So I imagine that this will be a similarly wonderful experience to connect with an audience. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm very grateful to be invited. for having
Oh
me.
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So I think I posted the call for storytellers in the Firecracker Department Facebook group. I think that's how you found it. So it's a nice, yeah, I connected with Naomi a few months ago. And so, yeah, it's a nice, I'm very glad to be making those connections, both in Toronto and outside of Toronto.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me today. I can't wait for people to hear your story. It's going to be a great show, everyone. You can tune in on December 13th at 1 p.m. Eastern. And we have a wonderful lineup of people in the US and Canada and in, no, that's it, in the US and Canada. Yeah. All right, Lara, thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.